The European Union and the United States are racing against time to reach a deal on steel and aluminium trade by the end of October, when the temporary suspension of Trump-era tariffs expires. The tariffs, imposed by former President Donald Trump in 2018 on national security grounds, have been a major source of transatlantic tension and something the EU is trying to solve. The two sides are working on a framework agreement, dubbed the Global Steel and Aluminium Arrangement, GSA, that would seek to address the root causes of the steel crisis: excess capacity and carbon emissions. The GSA would also aim to prevent the leakage of cheap steel and aluminium from countries such as China into the EU and US markets. To achieve this goal, the EU is planning to launch anti-subsidy investigations into steelmakers producing to excess in countries that benefit from what they deem non-market practices, such as China. The probes, which are expected to be announced at a summit in Washington, could lead to additional tariffs on imports from these countries. The investigations would not be limited to China, but would cover any country that is suspected of subsidizing its steel and aluminium sectors. The EU would assess the market situation and determine whether extra duties are needed to offset the unfair advantages. This move has provoked criticism from some of its trading partners, especially China, who warned that the EU's anti-subsidy probes will push up costs for consumers. China also argues that it is inconsistent with its WTO obligations. The EU's approach is viewed as a surrender to Washington, which requested that Brussels act against Chinese steel manufacturers for refraining from reimposing duties on EU steel and aluminum from the Trump administration. Since 2018, the US has slapped a 25% tax on imports of steel, while the EU has implemented equivalent charges under its own safeguards on a variety of steel imports. By beginning the anti-subsidy investigations, the EU is hoping to reach an agreement with the US that would eliminate the threat of tariffs, accelerate the decarbonization of the steel industry, and reduce overcapacity in non-market economies. The agreement would also establish a framework for more nations to join later, resulting in what they hope to be a solution to the world steel market and their interests. Be sure to comment your thoughts and hit subscribe.